Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of Tribute Talk. My name is Greg Thompson. I am producer of the Sunburst convention of celebrity impersonators in Orlando, Florida. And I am starting this season back up with Tribute Talk with someone I've been a fan of for about 4 years. And she was part of my daily regimen when we were all getting bored during the COVID lockdown. So I'm going to bring her into the room right now. And everybody give a round of applause for Debbie Wileman. Yay!
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank
Hello.
you. Hello from Orlando. She is all the way over in the UK, and I wrote down the town that you're from, but I can't pronounce it.
Well, it's like this, I'm originally from a town called Walthamstow, which is in London. That's where
what
I
I've
was
got.
born. So Walthamstow. Stow is like an old word for town, and Waltham, God, I'm not sure. There's Waltham Abbey, Waltham Forest, various things around there. But I now live in a town called Saffron Walden.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
so saffron, like the spice. And Walden is an old English word for town, and it's in Essex. So if anyone, I don't know if anyone watches The Only Way is Essex. Oh, right, babe. Oh my God, yeah, well, Joe, all of that. But I live there now, and it was called Saffron Walden because it was very big in the saffron trade in the 12th century. This town was founded in 1149. We've got a castle, there's mazes, someone was burnt to death at the stake in the town square in 1555.
You must have gotten high marks. You must have gotten high marks in history in school.
Well, actually, I mean, it helps that I live here. It does. You do tend to absorb it there.
Well, I want you to say hi to a couple of my friends who live in the UK, and I'm sure they are watching. They are Caroline Bernstein, who is a wonderful all-around entertainer. She's very funny, and she also impersonates Sharon Osbourne,
Great.
Queen Elizabeth, and Queen Camilla, along with many others. And then our friend Jamie Paget, who is, or do I say Paget? I always get confused.
Paget, I'd say, but
Paget. Okay. Well, he looks like Walter White from Breaking Bad. Are you familiar with that series?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, they're both from the UK, and they come. Both of them have been a few times to our convention, so they're going to know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, it's just a little town. I mean, I'm from East London originally, is where I'm from and where I grew up. That's Walthamstow. I was born in the same hospital as David Beckham, if that places it in terms of people.
That's great. Well, I was telling everybody when I first came on, I became familiar with you. I don't know why, but one day I'm on Facebook all the time. Ask anybody who knows me. And I got on Facebook, and there you were. And you were talking, just saying hi, and then you started singing as Judy Garland. And I was like, and I called my wife. I said, Jackie, come over here. Listen to this lady. And we were like, oh my gosh. And she's got the talking down. And you're from the UK, so learning an American accent. I heard it's easier for us to do a British accent than it is for folks from the UK to do an American accent. I don't know, but you nailed it.
I wouldn't know. I've never been American.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, I've got some questions for you, and I mentioned this briefly before we started. But you started out. You've been a singer. How long? Your whole life, since you were a kid?
Yeah. I mean, not professionally. I've sung ever since I was little. My dad is a musician. That's his job, you know. I come from quite a musical family, and I've always just loved singing. I've just done it for the fun of it, you know. But I first started singing professionally when I was about 15. I got a job in a local recording studio.
Oh, no kidding.
So I'd done some backing vocals. I think a friend of one of my dad's decided to do an album for themselves, and they said they knew I could sing, and they said, oh, would you do some backing vocals on it? And I was at school, and I was like, yeah, sure. And I sang backing vocals at this local recording studio. And then the local recording studio, part of what they did was if people had written songs that they wanted recording, they'd take them in, and then the guy who ran the studio could also play instruments and stuff. And he'd make the music to whatever they'd written. And then they'd have a roster of singers that you could choose from to do the singing. You know, you listen to clips and then go, oh, can they sing my song? And they were impressed with what I did when I was 15 and said, oh, would you want to do some session singing for us? So I was like, yeah, for money. Ooh.
Hey, 15, making some money. So is that about the age you were when people were like, hey, she's pretty good? So
I got my first taste of that actually doing some impersonating, strangely enough, but not Judy. The first time I ever sang on a stage in front of an audience, really, because, you know, like I say, I've always sung at home or for family or whatever, because my grandmother played piano, my dad plays guitar. I'd sing with them at various things, but not, you know, in front of strangers or anything. But when I was 11, at the end of primary school, you know, you've got, you know, little school, they did like an end of term talent show thing, and everyone had to sort of do something. And we decided, my friends and I, that we'd do a spoof, like a funny version of a TV show that was big in England at the time called Stars in Their Eyes. I don't know if they had a version of that.
I'm familiar with that. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
People come on and try and sing like famous singers. But we were 11. And my friend Almas, who was hosting it as a young Muslim girl, was being the presenter Matthew Kelly. So she had a grey beard made of wool stuck to her face to be the TV presenter. And I was Cher. And I was 11 years old, and my dad, because he's a musician, made me a backing track in his home studio. So everyone else was just singing over a cassette.
And you had a backing track. Ooh.
I had a backing track. And I was 11, you know, little fat kid with a wig on. I came out in these boots I'd borrowed off my mum and just went, does he love me? I want to know. How can I tell if he loves me so? And I think the audience were a bit like, what? And I really enjoyed it. I did it, you know, did the little shortened version of it, you know, sang a whole song, and got a really good response. I thought, "Whoa, this is good. I like this." Yeah. And that's the first time I ever had people go, "Oh, she can sing." Yeah.
Well, I think I forgot to tell everybody that the reason you're on here is because I particularly want to talk to you about your Judy Garland impersonation. And I'm going to back up for first of all and tell everybody. So you have performed at Carnegie Hall twice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, this is my interpretation, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw you on Facebook, and I was going every day you popped up. I was listening to you sing, and it was just wonderful. And I could not believe how close you were to Judy Garland. I've seen a number of impersonators over the years, and you are just as close as to her as anybody I've ever seen. So what I've been dying to ask you is, how do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Make some videos on Facebook.
I was going to say, well, practice is the old joke over here.
I know the one.
Yeah. So is that what happened? You were just making your daily because you were bored and you were like, hey, let's go. Were you doing Facebook and Instagram or just Facebook? What were you doing there?
It wasn't because I was bored. It was more to cheer up my friends. Because, you know, in the pandemic, it was quite early on in the pandemic, and it was all pretty weird, as I'm sure everyone remembers, and quite lonely and a bit scary. And I was at home with a just turned 2-year-old, and my husband was working the whole time. And a lot of my friends were having to self-isolate. You know, I've got friends who are single and they're at home by themselves, not seeing anybody. It's a bit grim, you know. Yeah. So I thought I'll sing a different song every day.
Every day?
Just on Facebook. Yeah, every day. Yeah. I called it a song a day. And I thought that'll be nice. It might cheer some people up, because I hadn't, I attempted to be a singer actress as my career when I got older, and I did a degree in performing arts, and I tried doing that in my early 20s, and I just didn't get enough work. It's the luck of it, isn't it? Sometimes it's just seeing the right people seeing you, getting gigs, whatever. I got a few bits, but when I reached 25, I just couldn't really continue it on. I don't have rich folks, I wasn't able to go, I'm just gonna audition, and no, I need money. So I sort of thought, well, I gave it a go. What are you gonna do? And then I had to get jobs, and I thought that was it. I never stopped singing because I love doing it just for the fun of it, but I never did anything professional. I hadn't done anything professional for about 13 years by the time.
Wow. So you were just like, I'm going to cheer up my friends and sing a song a day, and it's something fun to do.
Yeah, and it gives me something to do that isn't entertaining a 2-year-old also. I was very much stuck in the house. I mean, at the time we had to stay in our houses in England. You were allowed out once a day in the outside for an hour at that point, and then you had to go, and it was just like, what am I going to do with a toddler?
I remember seeing one where you had just put her to bed, and you like went in your laundry room and shut the door or something so she couldn't couldn't hear you. So
that's
how many?
Why they were all in the car or in the laundry room.
Right.
I had a neighbour who didn't like noise, who would hammer on the wall. We've moved.
Oh, really?
Since then, yeah, he's a horrible man. Oh, he called the police on us. Dreadful.
Really?
Just one of those neighbours where you're like,
see, I'd be over there going, louder, please, louder. I can't hear you.
Definitely wasn't that. And then also a little titch who wouldn't. She loves getting, but it bores her. She wasn't interested, so she'd be going, "Mummy." Like, I tried doing an early video with her in the room, and she was pulling my hair and putting it in an oven glove at the time, and I was like, this doesn't work. I've got to do it when she's in bed. So most of them were like at night, either in a laundry room, which is the furthest point away from her bedroom, or in my car, in a deserted car park, which I saw some interesting things, I tell you, because I did this every night.
And I wonder how many people walked by your car and then got home and said, I just saw this lady singing to herself in the car.
Well, I was embarrassed. So I go to these sort of out of the way car parks so there wouldn't be people about. But as lockdown started to sort of lessen, things started to happen in these car parks.
Okay.
Lights being flashed at me, people in bushes.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh no, I'm dressed as Marilyn Monroe, about to sing My Heart Belongs to Daddy. This is not what I'm here for. No.
So you were doing this. How many days in a row do you think you did this?
Oh, I know how many I did. I did 100 in a row.
You did 100 in a row. And then what happened? You did a combination of where you would sing as Judy Garland, and then you did others where you sang yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. I did all sorts of things. It was just, I didn't do them all as Judy. I did me being me. I did me being Shirley Bassey. I did all sorts of different things. Me being Anthony Newley.
Say that again. Whatever. I'm sorry.
Me being Anthony Newley.
I don't know.
You don't know Anthony Newley? Oh dear.
Oh, okay. I had a hard time understanding what you were saying there for a second. So a Southern accent and British accent. No communication problem here. So
Joan
at some point,
ex.
What's that?
Mm.
Oh,
Joan Collins's ex-husband.
Okay. Yes. So at some point, somebody contacted you and said, hey, we would like to talk to you about performing at Carnegie Hall. Is that right?
Well, a fellow Floridian, actually.
Really?
Yes. So I did various things, like I say, but on day 3, I did my first Judy Garland impersonation. And again, just because I'm a huge fan of hers, I've always loved Judy Garland from when I was a little girl. My grandmother got me into her films and stuff. And I realized I could sort of sing like her when I was about 11 or 12. But again, it was just to say, hey, Nana, look at this. Right. And when I was doing my degree at university, I wrote a one-woman show about Judy Garland, where I could play her, because I thought, what would I like to do? I'd like to do that. That'd be great. So I'd done it. And a lot of my friends knew I'd done this. And so on day 3, because they'd started watching me, you know, like my friends from home, childhood friends, they texted me and said, oh, you're going to do some Judy then or what? So I got the wig out of my cupboard, you know, and I did The Man That Got Away on day 3. And I posted it to a Judy Garland Facebook group called the Judy Garland Experience, because I thought, well, maybe they'll like it. I wouldn't have done any of this. I wouldn't have sung an entire song on Facebook. I'd never done that before. And had it not been for the pandemic, because I would have thought it was a bit too showy off, you know, like, ooh, look at me. Wow. But I think that changed the perspective. You know, I just thought, oh, so what, you know, it might be nice. And I think tagging it to this group is what made more people see it. That wasn't really my intention. It was more like, I wonder if they'd like my impression of Judy. I didn't tag them in anything else I did, but people started watching. And then I was doing a different thing every day, you know, and the Judy stuff became quite popular. So I thought, oh, I'll do some more. I love it. I know loads of her songs. Great. Okay. And it just became more of a thing. And I was contacted one day on
Gonna have
Facebook.
to ask, who was the Floridian who contacted you? I know a few people.
It's coming. I was contacted on Facebook Messenger by a lovely man called Scott Stander, like one who stands up. And we got talking. You know, you can phone somebody on Messenger without having their phone number. And he said he was an agent based in LA, based in Hollywood. And I was like, what? Okay. And we were talking, and he said, you know, I love what you're doing. I think it's really good. I'd like to work with you maybe when this is all over. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he said, oh, I'll fly you out to LA. And my husband was going, oh, really? And I was going,
right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
And then it did. And Scott is from Boca Raton originally.
Okay, gotcha.
But he's based in LA now. And I looked him up online and saw that he represents current people like the Real Housewives of wherever and Dancing with the Stars dancers. But he also represents classic Hollywood actors. So Julie Newmar is on his books.
Oh, great.
Mitzi Gaynor is on his books. George Shakiris. I was like, oh, wow.
Got some heavy hitters there.
Yes. So I was like, oh, yes, man. And he flew me out to LA in January, very late January of 2021. And I was like, oh my God, all right, let's see. And yeah, it was amazing. He's a lovely guy. He had me do some singing while I was out there and with a band that he'd put together. And he said, right, we've got an hour and I want you to do 10 songs for this video. So let's do them. And I'd only practiced with the pianist once and we did it. And at this club in LA. And he was like, right, you know, that was a test, right? And I was like, no, to see if you could do it live. You passed. I was like, and yeah, it was great. After that, we started working together and he got me some concerts and we did an album together. And it just, as the more we got to know each other, the more I got to sort of, he could see me with audiences and things like that. And he's a lovely guy. We get on really well and we've just been working together and it's been going amazingly. It's like a dream because, you know, at the time I was in my late 30s. I've just recently turned 40 and I thought that was it. You know, I didn't think, I thought that chance had passed me by to do what I'd always dreamed of doing. I thought, oh, well, you know, fine.
Well, how do you feel about, because, you know, we I do a lot of seminars at the convention and stuff. And one of the biggest misconceptions that people have, excuse me, about celebrity impersonators is that one, there are a couple. One is that some people think that, oh, well, they're such a huge fan of this person, then they felt the need to become them. And I'm like, that's not it. That's not it. And the other thing is, well, they can't make it on their own, so they're doing this instead. And neither one of those apply to you because you were a fan, like you said, but not so much that you felt like you needed to become Judy. I'm sorry, Judy. So, would you like to expand on either one of those about where you fit in there, or but you don't fit in there, or what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I don't feel I want to be Judy Garland at all. I really love her stuff. I am a big fan. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I started trying to sing like her when I was a child. And it's why I know all her material. And it's
Mm-hmm.
why it's fun. I don't think it would be much fun doing an act based on somebody if you weren't a fan of theirs. That would be
Right.
miserable.
Oh, but I do know a couple of impersonators who happen to look so much like somebody
Ah,
that they kind of like went into it, but they're like, I really don't like one particularly was as a politician. One of my friends was a Bill Clinton impersonator and did not
oh,
like Bill
okay.
Clinton. He looked just like Bill Clinton, but he did not like Bill Clinton. I thought that was very funny. But I'm gonna stop right here and not stop, but I'm going to ask you, can you give us a little bit of Judy? And I'd like to hear you do her talking voice. And if you don't mind, could I twist your arm to do a little singing as Judy for us, please?
You don't have to twist it. You know, really. I think I'll twist your neck if I don't get to sing like her. I don't mind at all.
Well, please do. Any
Oh,
one of them will be fine. I love them all.
I don't know. Do you have one you'd like?
Well, I think that I would be remiss if I did not ask you to do Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I think some people would call me up and be very upset with me if I didn't ask for that. So, how about a little Somewhere Over the Rainbow, please?
I think I know it.
Give it a shot.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, Why, oh, why can't I?
Bravo, 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 bravo. Is that your closer in the show?
But maybe.
Maybe we'd have to buy a ticket to come and see,
That's
wouldn't
right.
we?
You'll just have to see.
Now,
No, I'm.
when you perform, are you performing with a live band, or is it all a track show? It's a live band, so they did your charts for you and everything.
Yeah. I was very lucky enough to have the wonderful Steve Orich do my charts. He is a Grammy-winning orchestrator.
Nice.
He won the Grammy for orchestrating Jersey Boys.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Well, what advice would you have for other impersonators out there? Go on Facebook and sing live every day.
Worked for me.
Worked for you, yeah. That's wonderful. Well, how long is your show? When you do your show, how long is it?
It's about 2 hours.
That's about 2 hours with an intermission?
No.
Oh, are you serious? You're singing straight through for 2 hours?
Yeah, I think I'm doing 18 songs.
Oh, my land.
Yeah.
Did you have to work to build that up?
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I've got big lungs. I'm all right. No, I love singing. It's a joy to do it,
Yeah.
to be honest, so it's it's great fun for me. It's it's an utter
That's
joy.
wonderful.
I have a show coming up for anyone who's in the UK this Sunday.
Oh,
the
where?
30th
Tell them all about
June.
it.
Please. Sunday the 30th of June. It's at the Ambassadors Theatre, which is in the West End. So it's my West End debut. And it's the theatre next door to where the Mousetrap is, the longest running theatre show in the world.
I've heard of it.
Yes, the Agatha Christie one. And it's opposite the Ivy, the original Ivy restaurant.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so it's the Ambassadors Theatre, 30th of June. If anyone's about, there's still some tickets available. So please come along.
That's wonderful. I also want to mention another friend who's from the UK, but he lives in Tenerife now. His name is Keith George. He is a Boy George impersonator. He is phenomenal, and he's good friends with Boy George. Boy George gives him his costumes and stuff. Isn't that cool?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And he opened for him one time. So that's pretty cool.
Brilliant.
Well, yeah.
Well, Judy actually, I've got to know, obviously you must know Jim Bailey.
Yes, Jim Bailey, yes.
Yeah, well, his ex-manager, his previous manager and previous partner, Steve, is an absolutely lovely guy. And I've got to know Steve quite well.
That's wonderful.
And
Jim was a legend.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he did the Palladium. Fantastic performer.
I can't remember how many different impersonations. Judy. I know he did Barbara. Yeah. He did Judy. He did Marilyn Monroe.
Phyllis Diller as well.
Phyllis Diller. That's right. That's right. I've only been able to watch YouTube videos of him over the years.
Yeah, I unfortunately never got to see him live or anything, but I've got to know Steve very well. And he's an absolutely lovely man. And he gave me a ring that Jim bought to be Judy.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I like wearing that. But he did let me wear. So Judy really liked him. Judy actually saw him perform.
Oh, no kidding.
And she gave him a little bottle of perfume that it was in 1965, I think. She gave him, I believe it's Jolie Madame by Balmain, which they don't make anymore, but I've been looking at it on eBay. It's a bit pricey because it's not made anymore.
Yeah.
But she gave that to him and was very nice to him, apparently, which is lovely to hear. And Liza was a big fan of Jim's, and Liza actually did a show with Jim and gave him one of her mum's rings. And it's one that you see her wear a lot. It's got pearls on it. And she gave that to Jim as a gift. And Steve now has it, and he let me wear it. He let me wear it for my Carnegie Hall
I thought you were going to
So,
tell me he gave it to you. He's not
no.
going to do that.
No. He let me wear it though. I mean, this is I happen to have my CD, but you can see. Oh, if I got it in the right place, it's a bit of reflection there. But that is Judy Garland's actual
nice.
ring.
Wonderful. Well, speaking of your CD, and if someone wanted to get a copy of it, how would they do that? Write to you on Facebook and send you cash app some money.
It's on the Standard group. I think it's on their website. You can write to me personally on Facebook if you like, but it's on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. You can stream it.
Oh, great!
Or come and see me live, and it'll be in the foyer.
Absolutely. Now that's Debbie Wileman, Wileman. And after you, I'm all over the place with questions, so I don't have a through thought
hit me.
here.
I don't mind.
Okay. So you've performed twice at Carnegie Hall. Have they talked to you about coming back?
Not as yet, but it went really well. They were amazing shows.
Then they will. Then they will.
Great.
If it went well, they will. They would definitely call you. And I had a question to you. Already answered that one. You already answered that one. I was going to ask you if you ever did any other impersonations or impressions, but you gave us your share, and it was fantastic.
I mean, I do. Again, it's just for fun. I mean, it's just stuff that I've done for a laugh. Really, it's never. It's not something I've done. I do quite a good Billie Holiday. I do Shirley Bassey. Yeah, I like doing Shirley. Julie Andrews, I quite like doing.
Oh, really? We just had a wonderful Julie Andrews join us at the Sunburst convention last year. Her name is Nancy Roth, and she is wonderful. And she does all different versions of Julie Andrews from Sound of Music to Victor, Victoria, you name it. So that's wonderful. Have you ever thought about doing
way down in New Orleans?
That's it. You nailed it right there. Have you thought about doing a show, Debbie Wileman show, and then you would sing as yourself and then also do these other impressions? Has that crossed your mind?
I've done a couple of small ones like that in London at a venue called Crazy Cox. Like the chicken.
Oh,
my friend. Chicken.
Yeah, my friend that I mentioned earlier, Caroline Bernstein, she performs there quite often.
Yes, it's a beautiful venue.
I've seen it on Facebook. It looks awesome.
Well, do you know, I've got amazing connection to it actually.
How's
that? It was the first show I did actually after lockdown, because since before that I was stay-at-home mum, hadn't done anything for years. Lockdown happened, people started watching me, like your good self, and then I got offered this show there, and my parents came to it. My mum and dad live at the seaside now, and they came to London and they went into this venue, and it's in a basement, right? It's very beautiful. It's right in the centre of town by Piccadilly Circus, and my dad was coming down into the venue, and he was looking around, and he said to the guy on the door, "Did this used to be the Regent's Place Hotel or the Regent's Palace Hotel?" And the guy was like, yeah, it did back in the day. And my dad went, "Oh my God, that's where my grandparents met."
No kidding.
It used to be a fancy hotel. And in what's now the restaurant, it used to be the ballroom, and there were dances there, you know, like in the 30s and 40s. My grandparents met at a dance in 1947.
No kidding.
In what's now Crazy Cox.
That made me the hair on my orange stand up. I love when things tie in like that. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me. I can't let you go without saying, how do people get in touch with you if they were interested in booking you? Are you represented now, or do they contact you directly?
No, I am represented by Scott Stander of the Stander Group, which you can find online.
Very cool.
Yeah, give him a holler, please.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on Tribute Talk today. You're quite an inspiration, and that's a wonderful story. And I'm going to continue enjoying seeing you when you come up on Facebook, and hopefully one day I can come and see you in person. And
hopefully I'll come to Florida again, because I did do Orlando.
Oh, you
And I
did? Did you do the
yeah,
Plaza Theater?
yes.
I
Yeah.
thought you did. Do you know when you came in, I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to be at the Plaza. And I was out of town when you came in because I wanted to be there so bad.
And I did Fort Lauderdale as well.
Mm-hmm. Well,
That
whenever
was...
you come back, if you think about it, send me a note on Messenger and say, hey, I'm coming back. And what big thing? You've got the show coming up this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be wonderful. And any big movies coming out or anything in the future?
Oh, well, I wish. Any movie producers watching this, I'm here. You know, I'll do anything.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. And like I said, you're quite an inspiration to a lot of people, and you are so wonderful. And I can't wait to see you in person one day.
Oh, well, thank you, Greg.
Yeah. So whenever you come on this side of the pond, give me a holler and we'll talk to you then. Okay.
I will. Thank you
Hey.
so much for having me on.
Thank you. Hang around just a second. I'll be with you in a moment.
Okay.
Well, this has been another edition, the new season of Tribute Talk, and Debbie has been my first guest, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And my dog is barking in the background now, so I think he's trying to tell me something. So I'll catch you guys later. In the meantime, you have a good day and bless your heart in the good way.